It's that time again. It's time for the B-A-Q-A. The B-A-Q-A. The B-A-Q-A. The B-A-Q-A. Okay. It's time for Brown Ambition question and answer. You have questions. We have answers-ish. Because we're not your mama. We're not your financial advisor. We're not your doctor, your therapist. We just two brown girls on the internet doing the best we can, okay?
I don't want to be served with a lawsuit in the middle of Wegmans, y'all. No. These are answers with a side of tea. Just coming from, your financial besties who have ideas, but not all of your information. So take it with a giant grain of salt. But we got some juicy business questions today, potentially a baby pyramid scheme we have to save someone from. So let's do it. Where should we start? How about this first question that both of us were like, potato.
Yes.
All right. This comes from a listener who wants to remain anonymous. And they say, I took out a $5,000 loan to help with startup costs of a new business venture. The payments are $100 a month for 5 or 6 years. I'm expecting to profit $200 to $300 a month initially from my business. My question is, should I use those profits to pay off the loan, or should I use my 9-to-5 income to pay off the loan and use the profits to continue to grow/expand this new business? Thanks in advance. 4 exclamation marks.
Well, Annie, aka Anonymous, honestly, me and Mandi were like potato. I mean, well, I guess if we're being super technical, right? Technical Tuesday, I would say, because you want to make sure, ideally, that the business is looping in the business, but everyone knows in the beginning, that it's you personally and your job likely, or whatever side hustle you have, that is funding the business. But if your business is able to pay off the loan that you took, certainly you can do so. But you paying it off with your 9-to-5, it doesn't really, I just say all that to say I won't say it doesn't matter, because you personally took out the loan, not the business. So you owe it. But if it was me, honestly, I probably would just say, I took out the loan, I'll pay it back. I'll use my money to invest back in my business. Because I'm working, I don't necessarily need the business funds just yet. So instead, I'll just reinvest. That's likely what I would do. But if you don't do that, it's not wrong, technically, I don't think. What do you think, Mandra?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad at the idea of thinking of your business and personal expenses differently.
Yes.
I wish even in my first year of business, and I know this, it's better off, you're better off just keeping everything simple. But sometimes I run out of checks from my personal account, and I'm just like, let me get these Mandi money checks real quick. I got a lot of those. So maybe the landscaper got a check from my business last week. Maybe he did, and it's fine. But I like the idea of putting it in 2 different buckets, because, and it also, it's like what we say to name your savings accounts, almost like give that money a job. And if you tell yourself, oh, this is my business profit, you're more likely to probably use it for those business expenses and maybe keep it separate and not dip into it when, you run out of checks and your landscaper is like, knock, knock.
Yeah.
Where'd my money
But money
at,
in the
though?
beginning of businesses, it's really messy. You try not to be, it's like high school. You're going to be messy, girl. It's high school, but try not to be as messy.
I'm trying, but I keep doing. Okay, this is not about me. It's about Annie.
So like Mandi said, if you could keep it separate and clean, that's ideal. One thing I will say, I was just telling this to one of my mentees, and I was telling her, because her finances she's like year 2.5, and her taxes were just a mess. And I had told her in the very beginning, look into maybe having a bookkeeper, because, although she has a financial background, she's got her degree in finance, still running, doing your business finance on top of everything else. So I'm like, a bookkeeper, girl, $20-$30 an hour. You want them to create a profit and loss statement every month, because that's what you'll give to your accountant. So you're not scrambling at the end of the year. Of course, she didn't listen. We never listen. Girl, I didn't do my taxes for the first 2 years of having a business. My accountant had to run me down in ShopRite, which is a major, literally, Carlos ran me down in ShopRite.
I was in
ShopRite. Yes, I saw him in ShopRite. Mandi, I tried to make a U-turn. He said, no, you come here now. Because you can just imagine.
Carlos picturing you with your shopping cart. First of all, it was Baby Budget Nisa. She was at ShopRite, not Whole Foods.
No. For those who don't know, ShopRite's like on the East Coast. It's very low cost supermarket. And so Carlos is our Brown Ambition accountant too. He's super nice and dope.
He's mine now.
Yes,
Mandi
he was
accountant.
like, Tiffany, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. He's like, do you want to go to jail? I was like, I don't. And so he said, honestly, he was so nice. He was like,
you want to go to jail? I don't.
I know. He was like, what are you afraid of? I said, I'm afraid of how much I owe. He said, how much do you think you owe? And I said, $30,000. And he looked at me like, did you even make $30,000? I don't know why I had that in my mind. I did not make I don't know why I had that in my mind. He's like,
Didn't you say you made like $15K your first year?
Girl, I just had in my mind it was 30. I don't know why. And then he was like, no, you owe 8. I was like, oh. He said, but you would have owed, I think it was like near 4. I was like, well, why do I owe 8? He said, that's what happens when you don't file your taxes in time and you don't pay for 2 years. And I was like, okay. Do we know it? So from then on, I said, no more of that. So Mandi and I just sharing these horror stories just so, and even though you are going to be a little messy, you're a new business owner, try to be as little messy as possible, especially with your finances. Get yourself an accountant. Get yourself a bookkeeper who can do those profit and loss statements so you don't scramble. And remember that the money part of your business is literally the life's blood. So it needs to flow in order for your business to maintain. I don't care how successful you are. If the financial part, the taxes, the bookkeeping, all that stuff is a mess, then your business will eventually catch up and be a mess too.
Yeah, I need Carlos to come track me down sometimes because I switched to an S Corp at the beginning of this year.
Okay.
And we did all that. And then like the year just went by and I was still doing things like when I was just at a regular LLC, I would just pay myself, like write myself a check basically. And I just kept doing that. And last week I had like one of those moments at 3 a.m. when I was like, email Carlos and his wife Tianu does my bookkeeping, and I was like, you guys, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I feel like someone needs to look at me. Can someone come look at me? I just wanted to be babysat, and they were like, and he's like, no, now you're an S Corp, you need to be a W-2. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but shouldn't you be doing these things? Even if you have an accountant, like they don't always, like they're busy, it's tax season, all that kind of stuff. So even me, I'm like, okay, someone needs to, I don't know what, something's off here, but at least me reaching out, and hopefully I'll start paying myself with like an actual W-2 employee.
I mean,
now.
you could take owner's draws, like as a. But
that's what I've been doing. I just tell myself that. I'm like,
but it has to look like owner's draw.
It has to look like it. What do you mean?
Well, meaning like you can't just like make a transfer from one account to another account. It has to like, be sent to you as like, oh, this is an owner's draw. Like, you get your, because I get my regular, I'm an S Corp for both of my main companies as well. One of them, though, I'm considering going to a C Corp. So for those of you who are like, what are these letters? So an LLC, from what I remember, is like the way the state looks at you as it relates to the way you're incorporated, right? And so S Corps are also LLCs. And what makes LLCs special is that it's a pass-through entity. That just means that when you pay taxes, the business passes through to you and the taxes go on your personal tax return, right? So when you are a sole proprietor LLC, or say like a partnership LLC, you are still considered like self-employed. When you become an S Corp, that means Mandi officially is an employee of her business, and she no longer has to pay self-employment tax. That's the benefit from adding S Corp to your LLC. It's like, ooh, but that typically you shouldn't do that probably around maybe like the 100,000 a year mark, because then it's like, okay, now my self-employment tax is going to be too expensive. If you're making under $100,000 a year, self-employment tax, in relation to the other taxes you would pay as an S Corp, is probably manageable. Once you start to make 6 figures or more, considering you want to talk to your attorney, talk to your accountant, they'll help guide you. And they'll see taxes as a sole proprietor LLC, taxes as an S Corp. And then, they'll let you know where, you'll save. And so you move over to the LLC side. You are now an employee. So Mandi is no longer self-employed. She has to pay herself a salary.
Yeah. My boss is the worst.
Yeah.
She needs to get it together.
Now that's when it starts to get tricky.
Now I got to pay payroll taxes though. So that's where I'm like, damn. So I'm behind 3 months on payroll taxes now. I'm never ahead.
I'm telling you, like, honestly, I've made so many mistakes. So I'm not even, because first of all, Carlos said, I think it's time to become a C Corp. Now, when you're a C Corp, it is not an LLC. It does not pass through onto your personal taxes. And when I say pass through on your personal taxes, I mean that your company makes $100,000. You spend $50,000. And there's $50,000 left over. Maybe of the 50, you give yourself 25 for payment. And then you say, I'm going to save 25. Woohoo. The government does not care. that saved 25 is money that was earned and not spent on the business. So they look at it as your earned income. So you're going to have to pay taxes on the 25 you receive and the 25 you do not receive. I did not know that in the beginning. I was like, I felt broke. I was paying so much in taxes, not realizing that my company should be chipping in because some of that money was still left over in the company for savings. And so like, that's just a whole thing. But then I switched to, I thought a C Corp. We had filled out the paperwork, didn't realize it didn't go through. A C Corp is different in that you are now an employee, just like an S Corp, but except for it's not a pass through. The company will pay its own taxes. It doesn't pass on to your personal. Like, for example, Jeff Bezos, imagine him paying, taxes on $1 trillion. He
ain't paid taxes in a hot minute.
I know, but let's pretend like he paid. So C Corps, as you start to make more, maybe like 7 figures or maybe multiple 6 figures, then a C Corp might make more sense. I thought I was a C Corp, Mandy, and we were filing taxes for like 2 or 3 years.
You telling me that you were, or that
Girl,
something like that.
I was not a C Corp.
No.
I was not a C Corp.
Oops.
Yo, when I tell you the amount of undoing, I was like, say what now? Say what now? I was like, so I guess we applied, but it didn't go through or whatever happened. And so I'm filing taxes incorrectly. When I tell you the amount of money, because C Corp technically lowered my tax burden. So they're like, oh sis, you wasn't supposed to get them breaks. Not only do you owe us money on what you owed us. So,
oh Lord,
I know. I'm just saying all this to say, like, child, get your finances in order. Get your finances in order when it comes to your business. So good luck. Sorry, I hope we didn't scare you.
She's like, it's just a $5,000 loan. $100 a month. That's a pretty good. That's a nice, nice little monthly payment there.
It is.
Okay, well, that went in directions that I'm so glad it went in. But let's take a quick break, and we'll come back with your next question for the BAQA.
Hey, BA fam. Here's the thing: the CFO that gets it, they get it. The CFOs that don't, they don't. Behold, the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer. This isn't some bean counter. Today's CFO is critical to the strategy, growth, and profitability of the business. Don't I know it? But in growing companies, there are 2 kinds of CFOs. One who's struggling to keep up with spreadsheets everywhere, manual processes. It takes weeks to close the books. I have been there, okay? And one who's on top of their game, automated reports, inventory, e-commerce, and HR flow into the financial model seamlessly. This CFO uses NetSuite by Oracle. With visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, and budgeting, NetSuite is everything you need to grow all in one place. That's why NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system used by over 28,000 growing businesses. Like I said, the CFO that get it, they get it. And the CFOs that don't, they really don't. So head to netsuite.com/brownambition for a special one-of-a-kind financing offer. That's netsuite.com/brownambition, netsuite.com/brownambition.
All right, we are back. And let's get into our second question. This one's interesting from Jessica. Jessica says, I met a wonderful girl in a retail store one day. She was so nice and invited my boyfriend and I for coffee. She was really well put together and was excited to leave her corporate job and pursue her passion. When we got to coffee with her, she started to mention a mentorship and being part of a mentorship opportunity from wealthy people. In short, I'm pretty sure it was a pyramid setup. Do you all have a point of view on these? I don't think it's for me, but I would love to know your insight since some people seem to be successful with it. That story took a turn. I met a wonderful girl. I was like, oh, it's a love story. Oh, yes. No, it's a horror story.
I was thinking that. I was like, and then I was like, wait, is this a swinger story? What's happening? Because just like me and my boyfriend, I'm like, I'm confused.
Yeah. But... What are these? Is there wealthy people offering mentorship as a pyramid scheme? I haven't heard of this.
I've heard of, so there right now, what's really big that I've seen is that there are a lot of masterminds. That's the new thing. And so, but not with a pyramid structure. So not like, you bring somebody in and so the pyramid structure, Mandy, you want to explain like what, like, like one of these like pyramid structure looks like and then.
Sure. I think we think of like LuLaRoe.
Yeah.
And who is the people that sell the knives? I don't know. I just know I've had to save several. Yeah. So basically it's think of a pyramid. You have the people at the very tippy top who are actually making money, and then they recruit other people to come in and start selling the product or getting members into their business. And then those members bring in other recruits, and then those recruits bring in more recruits. And the lower down the pyramid that you get, the harder it is to actually make money from it. And yeah, it's also called the multi-level marketing.
Yes, MLMs.
MLMs. And I feel like there's a very aggressive public relations campaign to try to save face for MLMs. And people are like really, they get kind of upset whenever you talk about them and dog on them. But they target working women so often, especially women who work from home or who are stay-at-home mothers or parents. And because of that population, because they're coming for us, I just feel more like we have to really be careful and be aware of what it is. So a mastermind. So go ahead.
Well, I'll just say this real quick about MLM. The thing about MLM, the marker of it being unsavory is that there's less a push for you to actually sell the product or service and more push for you to recruit. So it's like, wait, like you have like LuLaRoe, like literally it wasn't so much that the people who were selling LuLaRoe were actually making money selling the leggings. It was, if I can sign up Mandi underneath me, then she has a mandatory amount that she has to buy. So it literally wasn't like Mandi selling it. She's buying it. And so I get a percentage of anything that Mandi has bought or sold. I get a percentage of that. And so Mandi's like, well, dang, I'm running out of money. Let me sign up my sister. So then her sister has to buy a certain amount. So it was less about like, selling this great product or service and more about signing people up. So just so we're clear, that's why pyramid schemes and those MLMs are so detrimental, because the underlying business is not good business. It's just about recruiting people versus selling good things. But masterminds typically are different. Right?
Yeah, you were almost going to join a mastermind, or did you join a mastermind? You were going to go to some kind of conference, I feel like, that Zion invited you to.
So yes, my business coach invited me. It was a lot of money. I want to say it was like $10,000, for that week or whatever. Yeah, it's a lot. So, but the thing about it is that there's no recruiting. Like, it's not like, hey, Tiffany, you bring somebody in, you get money. But it doesn't mean that their masterminds can't be scams too. Anything can be a scam. So a mastermind at its core, when it's good, is a group of people who are working toward like whatever success. We could all be from different backgrounds, and then and you are supposed to share the knowledge that in like almost into a pot, and then people can kind of pull from that pot. Like, oh, I know marketing. Well, that's great because I know copywriting. Well, that's great because I know. And you're supposed to share that, and then typically there's someone maybe who is for some masterminds, it's all peers. And for some masterminds, there's like one person that might be like the mentor of the mastermind. And so like, I'm not opposed to masterminds. The only thing now, they've become so expensive and you wonder like, what's the return? I certainly have friends who are in some, and they say that, it's been great. Like, it's all these wealthy people teaching other wealthy people how to be wealthy. I've been to one, like I went to Vegas, I remember, when it was really, I can't remember how much it was, but it was like for people who were 7 figures trying to be 8 figures. And certainly I learned a lot, but there was a lot of upselling at that mastermind, meaning at the end saying you learned all of this, you can learn even more for $100,000. Literally, it was $120,000 upsell. I was like, bruh, I flew economy here. So but would you ever join a mastermind?
I've seen more. I don't know. I did invite myself to an informal group of fellow online entrepreneurs, and just, who get together on Zoom every once in a while, but it's not like a paid, it's just like a networking group, because I'm really trying to, I want to like find support and find like among my peers and all that. Anyway, so that to me has value, but I'm not necessarily, I don't know. I'm always open to input, and I have worked with a business coach, and, and I'm definitely open to that, but I don't know, like I did see an ad for like a 2-day sort of one of those, exactly what you were saying, like you're at 7 figures, you want to be 8 or 6 figures to 7 or something like that. It was 2 days and it was like $15,000 and no, I mean, I don't think I'm able to invest that much from what I'm making as a business. Like right now, I'm kind of looking at the math and I'm like, oh, that's a couple months worth of income. And no, daycare is expensive.
Math ain't math.
So math ain't math. And at a certain point, of course, you want to invest in your business.
Yes.
And as a business owner, depending on how you structure it, those business expenses can be deducted, and like it actually helps you to reduce your tax liability. But I would say to this person, you didn't mention the name of the program, but I wouldn't sign up to anything right then. I would Google the hell out of it and look for reviews and look for testimonials and be really clear.
Will spill the tea online.
Yeah. I'm just surprised. What an old fashioned way to recruit. Just meet someone in a store. I feel like I got my don't talk to me face on, like stone cold, do not approach me. Like, so,
and also, too, it seems odd because it's like, now, here's the thing, like, it's one thing for like, okay, you are in this business space and someone says, hey, Mandi, I know you started a business and, this thing is working for me. But for me to just be walking in the store, you don't know anything about me. What value add are you adding? You know what I mean? So to me, this rings like scammy versus I might tell Mandi, hey, Mandi, last year, I spent a weekend in Cabo learning from these people. I think it's a really good idea. You should come, That's different. Like, so then Mandi might say, oh, okay, like I don't get paid if Mandi comes and it might be expensive, but I'm like, I really got to learn all these things and got to connect with different people. So in general, masterminds are, not bad ideas. It's just as long as you're clear on what your desired outcome is. It's in alignment with where you actually want to go. And like, I would definitely get some like referrals, like I said, because all my friends are in so many masterminds. Some of these masterminds, Mandi, $50,000 for the year. And I'm just like, are they selling gold up in there? And I've been in a couple, and I'm not gonna lie, we've gotten on the phone and I'm like, so I've only ever joined free ones. And I mean, and maybe that's why they haven't been so great, but I've been on a couple, and after a couple of calls, I'm like, oh my God, this is not useful. This is not helpful. So I've left. So maybe because they're free. Yeah. So they weren't as focused, but pyramid schemes, no. Mastermind, maybe.
Yeah, I'm suspicious of like any business that's kind of built on convincing people they can't do something on their own, that they need, guidance or they need this particular method or strategy. And as a career coach myself, I think about that often because I want my value to always be that I'm someone who can help you see through blind spots and encourage and make you feel more capable of doing it. And I love the term coach. I think in the past I was always like, coach, what is that? But I mean, what better way to describe what it is that, I do through my work and actually helping people be the best versions of themselves. But I would tell someone immediately if I felt like I'm not probably the right person for you right now or the right, you know what I mean? And even for my group coaching program, I know one of the makers wanted to know, is there a referral fee if we refer people to makers? Yeah. And I was like, no, I don't want people to feel like they need to refer people and they're going to make money off. I want you to refer people because you got so much out of it. You know what I mean? Yes. And that word of mouth is powerful.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like, and maybe as you grow, you might have like someone might actually bring in genuinely their sister or whatever. And you might reconsider because I don't have any referral programs either. But for example, the Literature Academy, it's something I'm looking into because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm wanting. So, it's been 6 years, so I'm open to that. But girl, if you need a coach, you got 2 coaches right here. You need a career coach. Where can she find you, Mandi?
Oh, mandimoney.com.
Right. And then if you want a mentor, I mentor in business, entrepreneurship, personal and professional development. And it's just mymentortiffany.com. So sis. And meanwhile, it's $10 for me. So first of all, let me laugh. Like, so I set real clear guidelines about like what I will and will not do in the My Mentor Tiffany space. And a woman emailed me, was like, I'm really disappointed because I expected that I was going to have a one-on-one with you. I'm like, well, one, it's clear in like the video and what I wrote, like when you sign up.
Yeah.
But she was like, maybe I'm being unrealistic. Sis, it's $10 a month. Yo, that's not even babysitting. $10 whole a month. And you thought that we were going to get on, and I really try to be clear every time I teach a lesson. I'm like, hey, let's just reestablish boundaries. This is what it's going to look like. Mom, sis, you thought we was going to get on a call and I was going to be like, ooh, child. Anyway, now don't get me wrong. I do mentoring for like the 10 people who I mentor and it's free. We just talk, but I was just like, that's not what this is. This is really digital group mentoring. I'm trying to make it as accessible as possible. But I just thought that was like, Mom, sis. Yeah. I would hate to be babysitting your child because you must be like, here's your 2 pennies. See you next week.
Girl, I mean, my cousin Anna makes $25 an hour babysitting. Girl. I'm like, should I be a full-time? No. The children, no. I can't. Other people's children, no. Well, listen, you can buy your own damn coffee. You know, you don't need someone else to buy you a coffee in a random store. But thanks for the fun story, Jessica. And be safe out there, y'all. If y'all want to ask your question and have it featured on the show, go to brownambitionpodcast.com and click Ask Us Anything. You can also email us at brownambitionpodcast@gmail.com or slide into our DMs on Instagram, Brown Ambition Podcast on IG. Don't say that we are not available to you, okay? 3 different ways for y'all to submit your questions, okay? And don't forget to subscribe to our new newsletter. Go to brownambitionpodcast.com and find out how to join the newsletter. You get updates from us, insights into the show, all kinds of fun goodies. So that's that.